Go ahead, Chris.
All right.
All right.
Good morning. It is February 18th, 2020. We will call the Wright County Board of Commissioners meeting to order. We'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I guess I didn't get the memo that it was charcoal suit day.
Welcome, everyone. Nice to see people out here joining us. We will look at the minutes. Does anyone have any?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
All right.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Delyden, seconded by Commissioner Potter. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. The agenda, today's agenda, is there anything that we need to add?
Yes, there's one item. The Sheriff's Office would like to do an introduction of an employee with a promotion. So if we could add that right away at the meeting, I think that'd be the best.
All right. We'll make that at timed item, actually.
Maybe just do it in 901 would probably be the
Yep.
easiest.
All right. Anything else?
That's all I had for today.
Madam Chair, I will make a motion to approve today's agenda with the modification.
All right.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Vesh, seconded by Commissioner Burrell. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Consent agenda. Is there anything that you'd like to remove for discussion or
I'll make a motion to
Go.
approve the consent agenda.
motion made by
Second.
Commissioner Delyden, seconded by Commissioner Potter? Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. All right. Sheriff Derringer.
Thank you, Chair, members of the board. I will try to be brief. As I told you a year ago, I think that it's important to recognize employees that are doing an outstanding job. Part of our new budget for 2020 was the approval of an additional patrol sergeant that you approved. I wanted to bring over Sergeant Jeff McMackins and introduce him to the board and just say a few words. Jeff has truly proved himself to be an incredibly valuable employee. He's been a deputy for about 11 years, just a tick under 11 years. And since that time, he is a member of the Major Crimes Unit. He's on the UAV team. And for the last several years, he has been a field training officer. And what's maybe unique about Jeff is he's always looking to further his abilities and contribute. And that's probably the biggest thing that I've noticed. He's on the Zerker work group, so that's an ongoing issue with our records management system, and we look to the people in the field that are using the system to give us the valuable feedback. What can be better? How can this be changed? How can it be manipulated? And he's an expert at it. When we decided to go to a new in-car or in-squad car camera system, we chose WatchGuard, partly based on a lot of the research that Jeff had done and the insights that he brought to those meetings. So just to further show how committed he is, he worked last night from 8 o'clock last night till 6 o'clock this morning. And so I'm guessing he's a little bit tired right now and he's looking to get this over with so he can go home and go back to bed. But I appreciate his wife Julie is in the back, and so appreciate him coming in, and truly honored to have him part of the command staff and the team going forward. I have often looked to him for his insights as we've made decisions. He's one of the field training officers where if there's somebody that might be struggling in one area or the other, he'd be assigned to Jeff specifically. Not only is he great at giving feedback, giving input, but he's an excellent coach, and I think that makes him well suited to take on the additional responsibilities. So I wanted to introduce Sergeant McMackins and congratulate him in front of the board and see if you had any questions for him.
Congratulations on the promotion. That's great.
Congratulations.
Good news. Thank you. Nice to hear what you're doing.
Thank you, board. Appreciate it.
It's one of those things that
Yep.
you should be doing that.
All right.
Get to know your local.
So, We will welcome Mr. Tony Rasmussen, our county assessor.
Morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners.
Morning.
I'm here this morning to schedule the 2020 County Board of Equalization. About 3 weeks ago, I sent you a memo with a date that I felt would work best for our office, and I'm hopeful that that will work for you. One other thing that I want to bring up is that if the board decides to require appointments, as it has done in past years, if we don't have people showing up at the meeting, we're able to adjourn the meeting earlier as long as it's stated on the notification evaluation. So I'd also like to have you consider that.
All right. So,
The
Mr.
date?
Rasmussen, you looked at
Was,
8th?
yeah, let me try and remember. June
Yeah.
15th at
15th.
4 o'clock? Is that what I had in the memo?
I have June 8th, but maybe on my
if I
calendar.
may.
Yep,
I believe the
Did we-
8th was the date when appointments had to be set by
That's
got it.
in
correct.
order to
Okay.
be included
You're
on the
right.
I'm
meeting.
hoping to do that a week ahead of time.
June 15th at, you said 4 o'clock?
Yep.
Okay.
yep, okay.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to set the Board of Equalization meeting on June 15th at 4 o'clock by appointments.
Second.
All right.
Okay, yeah. I was just
Motion
checking.
made by Commissioner Vetz, seconded by Commissioner Delyden. Commissioner Brill, you had,
No, I was just checking. I was thinking the 15th could be the second Monday, but it's not. So I have soil water,
Oh.
but it's the third, so I'm cool.
okay.
And Madam Chair.
Yes, Commissioner Potter.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Tony, can we make sure that John Holler gets this up in the forefront again for people? Because try to get people to understand, this is the time you challenge your values, not at the budget time, but try to get more people to get in and get that taken care of. I think because most people see that valuation, they get confused, they throw it away, they don't realize the impact of it. But if we can get Holler to make a note again, that these things are coming up, another little blurb in there, and maybe even get it in the paper.
Certainly do that.
Yeah, it is.
I also want to recognize you guys. This is the first time ever that I can recall my 20 years here that we've got 3 commissioners trained for the county board, which is awesome. I
Yes,
thank you all for doing that.
it is in case something, someone's ill. I mean, it's great to have the backup, so
I
thank you
carried the
for.
water long enough on that.
Well, if 3 of us can't make it, we don't have quorum, so.
Exactly. Definitely,
Yeah.
so, appreciate all you do.
Thank you very much.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks, Tony.
Yeah, thank you, Tony.
Did we vote on that?
We'll still need to
We
vote
did not
that.
vote on that. All right, so all in favor of setting that on the 15th of June at 4 o'clock? Say aye. Aye. All right. Okay, we got a little distracted there for a second, or I did. Okay, motion passes unanimously. And Sarah Goschitz, our Public Health Director. Welcome.
Good morning, Commissioners. You have before you today a resolution in support of your legislative priority to seek bonding infrastructure dollars from the state this legislative session to facilitate the development of that 6,200 square feet in the new government center. A draft of this resolution was also is available to you to share with other jurisdictions. And specifically that whereas point where it discusses on the first page, the second one from the bottom, about how many respondents from our community health survey delayed or did not receive dental care. That's an average for the whole county, but we have it by commission district. So if you're looking for a local government entity, a township or a city to pass this resolution, I can get you your commission district values. It's not the same across district, and there are certainly those that, particularly the Highway 12 corridor, which it's closer to 30%.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to pass the resolution in support of the Wright Dental Service Bonding Infrastructure request.
And Madam Chair, I'll second that, but I did have one thing I want.
All right, motion made by Commissioner Vetz, seconded by Commissioner Burrell. Commissioner Burrell?
I'm just wondering, because, and this, I think it's big that we do have, and 55,000 residents of surrounding counties. I'm just, do you think it would be better to list the counties with because you have the numbers probably for Meeker, McLeod, or whatever, or I don't know if that would have more impact or not. Mike, what do you think? Or you think it's okay this way?
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Commissioner Burrell, I'm not sure if having them spelled out is the important thing is the dollar amount and getting the right sponsor on the bill that will actually take the time to carry it through the committees and get to the end result. I think that's more important. Because I think when you're doing this, they understand you're grabbing from more than just your county, you're taking
Right.
from around.
It's regional.
I'm just wondering, we could actually just do the resolution the way it is and then have a separate sheet that you could go with it to list off the
Sure.
counties.
Yeah.
Maybe that
No,
would be
No,
nice.
that wouldn't hurt.
Certainly supporting, information
Right, well,
always helps.
because this is going to be a regional thing, because people right now, say in a Meeker County, may be trying to go all the way down to a metro area to try to get care. They're gonna be here instead, so, and it's gonna take some load off of the clinics that do it now.
Commissioner Burrell, good point.
Excuse me.
Oh, the other advantage of having that, those counties named, it also will help focus those legislators and senators.
That's what I
in
think.
those districts, in those counties, so that they can come.
So touch them all.
Yes, and we are getting authors in both the House and the Senate, so hopefully we'll be able to move this forward and get part of the bonding. And I think it's startling that 1,800 people visited the emergency room because of dental issues. I mean, think of just that, their problem got that bad, and that they didn't take care of it ahead of time, and plus, when you're looking at the cost of an emergency room visit is very high. So it's way cheaper to go to a dental clinic.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is pretty widely supported in both the medical and dental communities because of those
Yep.
reasons.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
One thing I was going to point out, like that 14,000 people in Wright County is actually kind of a low number because it doesn't take into account people that are on Medicare that can't afford supplemental dental. This is just based on MA clients.
Correct.
There's a lot of people that are 65 plus that don't have any kind of supplemental dental care and can't afford to get their teeth properly fixed because of their income levels, and those aren't included in that number.
Right. Yeah, it's a very conservative
They're not.
number.
Yeah, and Madam Chair.
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Another point is that without proper dental care, the incidence of stroke, heart attack, and other diseases go up quite a bit. So this is more than just making your teeth look pretty. It has better health advantage with it. And the dollar amount we're looking for from the state is not a budget buster, deal buster by any stretch. They should be able to squeeze this in with a $1.3 billion surplus.
I hope so.
Yeah.
It just matters who carries it and how hard they fight for it, because some people throw out bills and they don't fight for any of them. We got to get it to the conference committee. That's if it gets included into the conference committee, it has a better chance, because some of those people in those conference committee, House and Senate, are the ones that make the decision. And if this touches a few counties like Commissioner Burrell, if you have those supplement, that might be the difference between getting the money and not getting the money.
All right. Any other discussion on this resolution?
Madam Chair, as long as I have all commissioners' ears, I do want to say that Public Health and Sarah and her team did a great job on getting some informational pamphlets. And if you haven't seen those emails, and get that information, please pass it out to your cities, schools, anybody that'd be willing to get this information out there. Sarah has
Good idea.
a lot of good information for you, and I want to
Yes.
thank her and her team.
That EMS meeting's coming up too tomorrow night, I think. Yep. We can bring it there.
It will be in Cokato, so that's pretty timely.
Okay,
And a good location for the outreach.
yes. Good. Hearing no other discussion, this is resolution, Commissioner Potter.
Aye.
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 Aye. Resolution passes.
much.
Thank you. Okay. We will now welcome Virgil Hawkins, our highway engineer. With lots, huh?
Good morning.
That's good.
Madam Chair and Board of Commissioners, there's
Morning.
5 highway items this morning for your consideration. The first item is an annual ritual of approving a resolution for spring load restrictions. On a morning like today, we're all thinking spring. We're all hoping for spring to get here soon. This is an annual resolution so that when the time is Wright to put the restrictions on, we can do so within 3 days and get the signs put up. And attached also is the updated map for the spring weight restrictions.
I'll make a motion to approve the spring weight restriction.
Second.
All right, motion made by Commissioner Delight, seconded by Commissioner Potter. Is there any discussion on this? If not, it's a resolution. Commissioner Delight?
Aye.
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 Resolution passes.
Thank you.
All right.
The second item is to approve the Transportation Committee minutes from February 4th meeting. And a copy of the draft minutes are in your packets. I'll review the summary of the draft minutes. There was 3 informational items and 2 action items at the meeting. The first item on the agenda was an update on our local option sales tax and potentially discuss having another hearing to extend it and a new list of projects based on our long-range transportation plan. Now, after discussion and considering things, it was decided the action item consensus of the committee was to revisit this topic in the future and potentially hold another hearing in about a year. So bring it back and discuss it further at a later time. The second item was an update on the Braddock Avenue, County Road 147, jurisdictional change with Buffalo Township. At prior transportation meetings, we were given direction to meet with the township and discuss the possibility of doing this jurisdictional change. We did meet with the township board in November, and they considered it in December and decided they did not want to swap roads with us. So at this meeting on the 4th, we invited the township there to just talk about it a little further. And I think from out of that meeting and discussion, the township was going to relook at it and maybe come back with maybe some other ideas for how we could maybe accomplish this. But this was really just intended to be an informational item, and we'll wait to hear back from the township, and if something comes up that they want to consider, for us to consider, we could bring it back and see what we can do.
Yep.
But that was basically an informational item. The third item at the meeting was a Highway 25 access request update, and we'd been meeting with MnDOT to try and see about the possibility of a new access, direct access to 25 for the area where the new buildings are going. And there's been a lot of back and forth with this, with different options to look at and different layouts. And it's still ongoing, and on top of that, the state is doing a corridor study between Monticello and Buffalo to look at the whole corridor on Highway 25, and that'll start in July. And so something more may come out of that that would dictate where this new potential full access could be. So this was an informational item. We're going to continue to work with MnDOT on what that might look like in the future and bring it back to the board when we have an update. The fourth item we talked about at the meeting, the Concrete Paving Association had a representative there to talk about concrete mixes and concrete pavement and some of the different aspects of that. And that was just an informational item, so there was no action taken. And the last item at the meeting was discussing route changes on our highway system in order to get rid of our banked mileage for our state aid account. And we talked about swapping out, removing the designation of CASA 41, making it a county road, and then applying that to County Road 138 along with our banked mileage to make County Road 138 a county state aid route. And after discussion, the consensus action of the committee was to proceed with that, and I have had conversations with the City of Buffalo, and they're agreeable to it. So we'll be working on an agreement and resolutions and bring those back at a future board meeting. So that's basic summary. If there's any things in the draft minutes, any comments or revisions, let me know, and we can.
Yes, Virgil, I think it's important to note that we're taking in $7.3 million per year from the local option sales tax revenue, and to think of what we can do with that money that's not impacting people's property taxes is pretty amazing. And just one little typo under, on page 2, under the bullet points, the second bullet point, it's just to add an E on Sherburne, not a big deal.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Vetch.
because I remember correctly, because I started off that conversation on the sales tax and asking if this was to have a public hearing to add items or projects or to extend the life of the local option sales tax. And then it would go to my next sentence would say, if it is to extend the life of the local option sales tax, I am not interested at this time, in extending the sunset at this time. Because right now it's kind of short and there's missing a lot of pieces out of it. It's because right now it reads, looking to have a public hearing or to add projects to the list. If so, he is not interested in extending a sunset date. So, because most of my questions were, my discussion was surrounding, are we here to extend the public hearing for the local option sales tax? And if that was the case, I don't want to do it yet at this time.
Okay.
Have that discussion.
So we'll add some language in there to make that clear.
Yeah, clearer. Thank you.
Yeah, and then to clarify, we'd be looking at this at the end of this year or early in 2021.
Yep.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes and the recommendations.
All right.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Delyden, seconded by Commissioner Potter. Is there any discussion? Commissioner Burrow?
Madam Chair, and this doesn't affect the minutes per se, but I did talk with representative of the township after the meeting, and I think what is a concern, and it probably would be of any township that has the turnback of their roads coming back to them, they don't want to be the first one, or of course it wouldn't be the first one, but because they're thinking, well, maybe they're going to have, because there's what, about 30?
Yeah, the long-range transportation plan identified
35 of them, and they're almost thinking they'd like to have something more comprehensive or some policy set out by the board because they're thinking that it's going to be a sweeter deal for somebody down the road that holds out, and, you know, so I guess that's just something that we have to think about, and maybe you put in the, you know.
So you just do one swift action is what you're saying?
Well, because, I mean, this isn't the only one. They said there's 34 other ones, whatever, so.
It's a valid concern.
They just think if they just go and say yes, and then there's going to be some, and there very well could be. There could be some, we might sweeten the deal later on to get it done. And, well, why agree to it now then, you know? That's, you know, so.
Or the other way around.
Well, I'm thinking they're probably right. Anyway, that's all I had.
All right. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Okay, motion
Hey, thank you.
Thank you,
passes.
Virgil.
Thank you.
The third item today is requesting approval of a resolution of support for the Highway 55 Corridor Coalition's legislative funding proposal for 2020. And I've copied a page in your packet that shows what the proposal is. It's basically an ask of $5 million for some preliminary design work and preliminary environmental work to proceed with the next steps for Highway 55 improvements.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution for the 2020 legislative funding request for Highway 55.
Made by Commissioner Delyden, seconded by Commissioner Potter. Any discussion on this?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Yes, Commissioner Potter.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. As you on the board know, that I'm chair of the 55 Coalition, and we have a new Transportation Commissioner now from Charles Zelli down to Margaret Anderson Kelleher. They do things quite differently in how they approach things. For us to get to the point where we can actually get money spent on this, even at the request of Congressman Phillips and Congresswoman Craig, is if they can get this, so this is shovel-ready kind of project, if the feds ever get their infrastructure package together, they'd be able to push and get something like this, because this project from Arrowhead to County Road 19 in Loretto, Corcoran-Loretto area, would be about, the construction would be about $40 million, really close to that. And it's not ranking high on the Metro MnDOT list right now with the things, but this part here, the $5 million, would get us ready, so it's shovel-ready, so if money was to come in, they could get it. The thing is, it's going to be a hard push because with this year being a bonding year, it's short session and they really don't want to talk about much of anything. The idea is to try to get the foot in the door, so if we can get $5 million or have it at least be under consideration, get it closer to ready for anything that potential federal could come our way. I think it's a big item for our people that have to drive on 55 to work to get there, because that's a long stretch from Rockford all the way to Medina to get to 4 lanes, because it backs up quite a bit. So getting to County Road 19 would be a big boon. We got Hennepin County is looking to do the same resolution, so I know Met Council's on board with it. I've got this in now. Met Council Board Chair Charles Zelli is now there as their chair. He's got this information in his hands. I didn't get to talk to him directly on, but Judd, his lieutenant, was there on that. So they know what's going on, and it also matches up with their bus rapid transit that they do down there. So this kind of enhances that, and we've been meeting with the bus rapid transit at 55 to make sure they understand what we're doing and we understand what they're doing, so we're not in conflict with each other. Because up until a few months back, they didn't even realize there was a 55 coalition out there. Because these are Metro-centric people from 169 in. They didn't realize we even had one. Now they do, and now it's figured out how to. Because unfortunately, when you're in Hennepin County, if you don't get Met Council's blessing, you're not going to get anything. Just the way the sandbox is played. But no, to me, it's a soft ask. But if you see what it gets you, preliminary, final design right away, and everything else, it's money well spent, because that's the way they want to see things done. Margaret, this is her way of having projects ready.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner Potter. Any more discussion?
Nope.
Commissioner Vetch?
Nope.
Oh,
I'm
I
good.
thought you said yep. Sorry. All right. Resolution, Commissioner Burrell?
Aye.
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 Resolution passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
The fourth item today is to approve agreement number 19-55 for the Highway 39 4-lane reconstruction project with the City of Otsego. The City of Otsego approved this at a recent council meeting, and this is one of the projects with our local option sales tax funding. We have this out for bid right now. We'll be receiving bids February 27th, and so I'd like to get this agreement approved.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion for agreement number 19-5 for construction on CASA 39 in Otsego.
All right.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Vetch, seconded by Commissioner Potter. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you. The last item today for consideration is to approve agreement number 20-51. It's also a local option sales tax project with City of Monticello for County Road 118. And this project is planned for 2021 construction.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Second.
All right, motion made by Commissioner Potter, seconded by Commissioner Delyden. Discussion.
Yes, Madam Chair. It is nice that the local option sales tax is getting some of these projects that would otherwise be on the shelf. And as Commissioner Vetch knows, Fenning Avenue is a needed connection up on that, because we all are well-versed on Highway 25's problems, and any alternate route we can have is just doing us better. Great project. I'm looking forward to this getting done and people being served by this.
Thank you.
And Madam Chair?
Yes.
Virgil, is this a road that, it's pretty heavily traveled as well, right?
About 3,000 cars a day.
3,000, okay. And then is it anticipated to go much higher? Because I'm just wondering should we be looking at a 4-lane there too? And if it's 20 years down the road, that's fine, but I don't want to be rebuilding a road and then rebuilding it again 10 years later, because.
That's a good question, and the projected traffic volumes do not warrant a
4-lane, yeah, okay.
I'd like to point out, too, with these local option sales tax projects, which have been great for the county, our city partners have been great in their share of the funding. They've been willing to come up with and pay for amenities like trails that they want to see in the projects. And this one, we're working with the City of Monticello, and they'd like to see trails that we're going to include also. But this one does not warrant more than 2-lane with wide shoulders.
For a long time, okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
so just So this project here, are we doing shoulders with it at all? I mean, because I know it was a township road, and so, I mean, it was a very narrow road to begin with. So you're watering the road, and you are putting just gravel shoulders on it, or?
It'll be a paved 6-foot shoulder. When we build these local option sales tax projects, even though we're not required to meet state aid standards, we do anyway, because that's what we've always done.
And then this one, including this project, is the roundabout at the bottom of
Yes.
Fenning and School Boulevard then?
Correct.
Okay.
All right, any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. All right, thank you, Virgil. We've got a lot going on on the roads. Mr. Bob Hevola.
Board. Madam Chair, if you don't mind, I'm just going to move the tobacco license up first so Matt can stay up here.
Okay.
If that's all right.
Sure.
So the item number 2 is really approving the movement of a tobacco license for e-cig tobacco, doing business as e-bacco. They were licensed in Elberville, now they're looking to be licensed in St. Michael. We have the proper application and the proper fees for it, so.
So moved, Madam Chair.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Potter, seconded by Commissioner Burrell. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll turn the balance of the items over to Matt.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, we have quite a bit with ditches.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board.
Good morning, Matt.
So my first item, and there is a typo there that should say January 14th for item number 1, but it is approving the minutes for County Ditch 20, 36, and 29 from January 14th.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from County Ditch 20, 36, and 29 from the public hearing on February 14th.
January.
Or January 14th, sorry.
January.
Right, that would, we
All
didn't meet
right.
on Friday.
Motion made by Commissioner Vetch. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Delyden. Discussion, I do have one thing to add. I was there too. So,
We'll just add you onto the.
yeah, add me onto the present.
I'll vouch for you.
Yes. All right.
All right, so item,
Any discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes.
so item number 3, I hear the repair request submitted by a benefited landowner on County Ditch number 20. I have worked with this landowner in the past. He had never submitted a formal repair petition. We actually approved back in October to solicit some bids for this area, but his 2 repair requests that he sent added some additional areas than I originally anticipated. If you remember last week at our work group meeting, we decided that we would hold off on this project and look at it from a kind of a full system repair.
Correct.
We did have another repair that was going through on County Ditch 20 for some tile on the upper end, and this would be just downstream of that. So according to Minnesota Statute 715, you guys have to hear the repair petition and determine how you want to move forward with it.
Madam Chair, I would request that this repair request be compiled with the complete repair report that we would be going forward with an engineering firm going forward. So compile it into bids that we're going to do for complete engineering for the ditch 20.
Okay.
Like, that is a motion?
That's a motion, yes.
I second.
Commissioner, motion made by Commissioner Vetch, seconded by Commissioner Delyden to include this in the whole ditch repair consideration.
And,
Commissioner
Madam Chair,
Brown?
and I'm not sure this is actually pertinent to the motion on the table, but in the minutes, it said, you know, because we did kind of vote on this, it said it's carried 4-0. And then, if you were there, I'm guessing it was probably 5-0. Oh, Commissioner Delyden, oh, okay. Then, never mind.
Good memory, though.
Yeah, I know.
Is it
Was
in-
excused.
Do we have it in the minutes that Commissioner Delyden left at a certain time? It probably should be, otherwise it looks kind of funny having
That
4-0.
looks like somebody abstained.
Okay. Anyway, that's all. I thought I was gonna point that out, that somebody wasn't getting counted.
Hey, our math
Any,
here, right?
any more discussion on this?
No.
Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Motion passes.
And item number 4, which is very similar, but it's on County Ditch number 16. We have a repair request from a Frank Lanto describing some tile areas that need to be addressed. Mike Young did do a small repair on that back in 2018, just kind of fixing a blowout and recovering the area. It sounds like there's more blowouts forming since then, so maybe looking at a little bit more in-depth repair in that area as well.
So all we're doing is just approving that we've heard the repair request. I mean, we're not doing anything at this point because we don't have any information, I
Numbers.
think, based on the snow cover.
Yeah, that's going to be really hard to actually go out and see. Most of our repairs, we do it under what's called 701, which is where the board notices there's an area that needs to be repaired and moves forward. The repair by petition's a little bit different. Under 715, we have to hear their petition within a certain amount of days, determine how we want to move forward with it, and then follow the process and statute to do that.
Madam Chair, can I make a motion for us to investigate it as soon as possible when environmental conditions are allowed for this system and report back with estimated repair costs to the board at that time?
Perfect.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Vetch, seconded by Commissioner Delyden to get more information when we can get in and see what we've got. And then we will take action on this request. All right. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right.
5th item, approve the finding and order accepting the viewer's report and adopting the redetermined benefits for County Ditch number 20. I do want to point out there was a change. The viewers decided to reduce the damage payments for the buffer from $58,321.28 to $33,965.41.
Would you repeat those numbers, please, Matt?
$58,321.28.
I know we have that in here.
Page 4.
Page 4, 17.
Yeah, 4 to 5, yeah. And then after they check those values, they reduced it to $33,965.40.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And
That's very nice.
reasoning on why they did that?
They were using basically CREP rates, for some wetland areas. Obviously, those wetlands are probably worth as much as CREP value. CREP value in our area is actually significantly higher than some other areas, so.
Now, Matt, Madam Chair, so they had the hearings, they had everybody get information, and then did they let all the interested people know that they're lowering that? Or is it going to be a surprise to them? This is kind of Commissioner Potter's thing on a discussion that we had a while back, where we're changing things after we had the meeting. I'm just concerned about that.
Madam Chair, if I'm correct, if it's in the benefit of the landowners, if their benefit is reduced, then we do not have to notify them, correct?
No, the damages would be a payment that they're going to receive, so they're going to be paid less now.
Okay, so in that case, but depending on what.
All right.
Uh-oh, what did I say?
You had to do it. You had to do it.
What did I say now?
Thank you. Madam Chair, members of the board, and specifically Commissioner Burrell, to your question, under Minnesota Statute 103E.335, the board is authorized to direct the viewers to change their valuation. Staff did that after looking at this because they were giving wetland parcels that are never going to be drained, never going to be altered, a full buffer acquisition price as if it was prime egg land. So we can't be paying full egg prices on literally cattails that are never going to be, we're never going to have access to, never going to use.
And why aren't they going to be drained?
They've been there since the ditch was established.
Even after the ditch?
Yes, they've always been there, yeah.
That's a
Especially
good-
on 36. I
that's
mean,
a good
20 has a lot of wetlands on the outlet portion. 36, I would say, 90% of the ditch is wetland or public water.
So, but my point is still valid. We could have somebody that could have an upset, but
We could, but.
we can do it. I
We're
guess.
following statute which allows the board to change that number.
Is the change now, it must be nominal then that you guys aren't doing notifications, because I'm guessing if, but I mean, 58,000 seems like a fairly large amount. I just don't want somebody to cry foul when this is what they were given, and then
Now it goes to
now all of a
33.
sudden I'm paying $150 more than what I was originally told, and then they're like, why?
I guess, the one thing, and I discussed it with the viewers as well, these viewers do not give benefits to wetland acres. So if you have something that they're classifying as wetland, they're considered non-benefiting acres. So those acres physically get removed and they're not charged an assessment on it. And then going back on that where they're not even paying to fix the ditch for those acres, and then you're giving them prime farmland values for the buffer strip along it.
Yeah, and this is not the assessment, this would be the damages, so there's times when you just dig the ditch through well, you get damages for having the ditch there by itself, you get paid for that property. They're just not getting paid as much per acre.
Right.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, and it
Whatever.
makes complete sense, so hopefully they understand that.
I'm just pointing out to the board, we could hear from it well, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
That's it.
reached out to Rankin Noonan and asked them about it as well.
You don't have to it's up to the board. If you want to renotice, it's up to you. You're not required to the statute.
Madam Chair, is this, I mean, I'm guessing this is only about 4 landowners that had the most of this land for this. I'm guessing it's not over dozens.
36 or
So 36 is a little different. County Ditch 20, most of the damages actually goes to the Robert Ney Park land.
Okay, so it's
through
county.
parks, So.
Okay,
All right.
that's fine, I just wanted.
Any other questions for Matt?
No, thank you.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve the findings and order accepting the viewer's report and adopting the determination of benefits for ditch 20.
All right.
I'll second that.
Motion made by Commissioner Potter, seconded by Commissioner Burrell. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
No,
Oh, I'm-
Resolution.
Oh, sorry about that. Resolution. Commissioner Vetch.
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Resolution passed unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you for your hard work, Matt.
Yes.
So item number 6, and the last one, and Greg has a good idea to stay up here. And that is to approve the finding and order accepting the viewer's report and adopting the redetermined benefits for County Ditch number 36. This was a more significant change to the benefits damage payments. Originally, the viewers determined that it would be $59,563.64. After they did their reevaluation, considering the wetlands, they're recommending $7,931.08.
And that's significant.
Ooh, and this wouldn't be, a lot of
Yeah.
it would be known to be county, so.
This one is basically all wetland.
Okay.
36 is,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than the outlet from Rice Lake, it's all wetland.
Yeah.
Every bit of it. So.
Madam Chair, I'm just curious if, once again, is this benefit, damage payment, is it mostly onto just 1 or 2 landowners, or is this?
Now it will be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just basically along the outlet now.
'Cause I'm just concerned that all of a sudden these people are expecting a huge reduction in what they have to pay because of the damages, and now they're gonna get very little damages, and they're gonna be like, well, what happened, and why didn't I know about it?
But I think at the end of the day, Commissioner Vetch here, when you look at this system, if we were to overpay on these wetland parcels, the people who own the wetland parcels are gonna get a windfall, because they're gonna get a lot of money for land that isn't worth anything, and then everyone else in the ditch is gonna be paying them for that. So it really evens out the equity at the end of the day.
And see, and I don't argue that,
I don't either.
but it's just that they were told they're going to get this much for damages, and now they're getting 10 cents on the dollar.
We should be letting them know.
If you want, this one, given the drastic amount, it's up to
I'm
the
just
board.
inclined to notice them just because I feel like we'd be duping them if they feel like they didn't. Yeah, exactly.
I think that's a good idea with an explanation of, the reason for the reduction is because it's wetlands and it's not prime ag. I mean, if there's, just to let people know, the reason, I think
Well, because we don't, Madam Chair, we don't have to mail to the entire benefit rolls, just those that are
The ones
affected.
that would be affected by
the
That would be
damage,
affected.
the change in damages. So it might be 10 people, 10 letters, if we could just draft one up,
Right.
just stating, here's what happened, here's what your new
Well, and then the
damage
thing
payment
is
is.
too, if the damages are less of a payment, if the damages are less will be paid out for that parcel of land. It will lower the cost of the overall
Repairs.
Repairs
repairs,
for the rest
or
of
in
the
this case,
system.
the
Yeah.
redetermination of benefits cost.
Right, so it benefits, it's a bigger benefit for the most people.
Yeah, well, they pay a portion
How
of their
many
own
people
damage payment.
would be affected by this reduction in the damages?
On 36,
About, yeah.
I'd say 15 parcels, maybe 20.
I'm with you, Derek. I
That's
just
almost
think
three,
we-
if you average
Yeah.
that, you're talking $3,000 a piece or more.
The other one, like, was told, it's the county property to begin with that's going to be mainly affected, and it's a smaller amount. This is directly to landowners, and it is a larger reduction, so.
All right.
If you want to.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to accept the viewer's report in adopting the redetermination and directing staff to send letters to those with the change in damages and to notify them of what that change is.
All right, motion made by Commissioner Vetch,
I'll second it for some
seconded by Commissioner
discussion.
Glyden. Yes, Commissioner Glyden.
If we're gonna send these letters out and we're approving this, all we're doing is notifying those people and they won't have any recourse to come back and to discuss or question or ask things.
Well,
I'm wondering if
I-
we're better off tabling this until,
And then mail out the letters and table it for a couple weeks.
Madam Chair, I just clarification for the Attorney's Office, I mean, because this is all just following statute 103E, and I don't know that we have a whole lot of latitude in modifying it because we don't have the ability to modify a third party's report.
That's
So,
true, too.
I mean, I don't
we're
want,
not
I don't
gonna
want
be
to,
able
I
to
don't want them
change
to
it
believe
anyway.
that we can change something that we can't, so,
But maybe just sending out, maybe that's not a bad idea. Then you're sending out a letter, at least explaining why it happened,
Reduction, yeah.
and that the board did listen to it and accepted the viewer's report, which,
yeah,
And Madam Chair.
yes,
yeah, otherwise
Commissioner
you'd think,
Potter.
making it sound like they have something to say about it.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In these instances, I'm more worst-case scenario. Some people didn't want us touching their stuff at all. I would think most people would be happy that we're not damaging nothing, we're not touching nothing, government intrusion in their life and all that. I would think most of them would be happy that we're actually touching it less than the worst-case scenario is we're going to be here, but now we don't have to be there because of the law. I would think most of them would be happy that we're on their land, we're touching it less, because a lot of people, when they have that view, they don't want nothing messed with. They like that view.
No, but they're still doing the same work and everything, Mike. It's just they're getting paid less for the ditching.
Because they're doing less damage, they're intruding less on their property.
Right.
No, Madam Chair, this is just mostly a classification piece, so it's just basically classifying it as wetland and versus it getting a benefit as prime ag land, so.
All right.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Dahlheim, I'm just curious what your thoughts are. I just don't want to send a letter, I don't want to table it and invite them to come out here and only to get the same verdict because we don't have any latitude because we're following statute and we don't have the ability to modify viewers' report. But I'm open to your suggestions.
Yeah, Commissioner Glyden.
I'm just thinking that at least the people have a chance to express their opinions before we do the final, but I just, we haven't heard from the legal beagle.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Vetch and Commissioner Dahlheim, staff will do whatever direction you give us. If you want to have a public hearing again, we can notice and do that. If you want to approve, and we can send an explanatory letter. Either way, it's fine with the statute. We can do whatever you want.
I guess I'm most comfortable sending a letter. To go through the expense of having another public hearing on this, I don't know if this rises to that level.
Madam Chair, just so on clarification from the attorney in the room, am I correct? I don't believe we have any latitude with having a public hearing, there's, other than to not accept the viewer's report entirely, and then to go and find a new viewer and spend another $30,000 on a new redetermination of benefits. That would be the only other.
Yeah, Commissioner Vetch, your options are to accept the report as presented from the viewers, direct them to change it, which staff has already done on your behalf, and lower the amounts, given the equitable interest here in the wetlands, or it is to reject the bid or reject the report entirely. That is your options. We have amended it, so you can go back to the higher amount, you could do that, or you could go with the lower amount or start over.
But if you're paying 59,000 in damages, basically then the other 500 people are,
It's inequitable.
yeah,
They would be unfairly charged.
charged, yep. Then the report wouldn't be equitable, it'd be
Correct.
challengeable in court.
Yep. Well, we have a motion and a second on the table, resolution. Is there any other discussion? All right.
And Madam Chair, I also kind of agree as well as wanting them to give them the opportunity to speak and get informed, but I also, like you said, the cost of it, the cost benefit of doing so probably just isn't there, so.
And I, appreciate you adding on your motion to send the letter, so, yeah.
What areas does this ditch cover? What district?
75.
Silver Creek Township.
Madam Chair, or this is basically the one that we had the raise the road issue. This is the one that basically goes over 75.
Oh, okay,
Yep.
okay.
Out by 94, goes
Yeah,
underneath
okay.
94.
The ditch sloughing one.
Yeah, the one that we were told that we should raise the road by DNR.
We didn't think that raising the road would be, a
Solving
very
the problem.
economical
Solve the problem.
thing, so, yeah.
As Madam Chair, Commissioner Dahlite, and this is the one where we removed 2 inches of fill and alleviated our flooding issues on the
Yeah.
road. Yep.
Yeah, 2 inches compared to raising the
Raising the road
road.
3 feet.
For millions of dollars.
Gee, I wonder what makes sense there.
Yep, a backhoe for 10 minutes, or let's shut down a road
Yeah.
for the summer.
Yeah.
Commissioner Potter?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The whole thing with all these ditches, we've been doing so many of them here. I think the people that are coming and talking, we're talking with them, they want us to take action and move forward. Okay, we've taken the viewer, we've gotten there, move forward. Is it perfect? Not all the time, but we got to keep moving forward because it's not going to clean itself. And I look at this like Commissioner Burrow and myself have had this talk. We do these things, we take it under local control, we take it, the viewers report, all this, now we're there. Now the DNR, it's one less step we got to deal with them. We could just take and do our repairs ourselves. And to me, that's a big benefit. And I try telling people that this is actually in your best interest because then if something happens, we don't have to go through that bureaucracy. We can just go and repair it. So I think it's a step in the right direction. And people expect us to take these things when we're spending this money and moving forward and getting this issue resolved, especially this ditch and all the other ones that have been neglected for decades.
Thank you. Any more discussion? If not, resolution, I'll start. Aye.
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 Right.
Aye.
All right, resolution passes unanimously. Thank you. That was been a lot of work, and you can see the result of all this work, so, yeah, thank you. All right, the items for consideration, we have the committee minutes from the County Board Workshop, and we'll ask Administrator Kelly to highlight those.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair. I'll try and do a brief summary of the minutes as we did have a bit of a, longer meeting that day. We did have all 5 commissioners in attendance, as well as some outside guests from the Wright County Community Action and others. The first item was kind of a housekeeping and scheduling of some meetings. The items talked about were touring the Excel facility, administrative performance metrics, the strategic planning update week of the March 9th and how that would impact the workshop. And we talked briefly about the legislation we're pursuing for bonding for the dental center. So the recommendations coming out of that, Commissioner Vetch will send dates to tour the Excel nuclear power plant in Monticello and report back when receives response. Schedule a closed session on March 5th at 10:30 a.m. and we'll continue discussion of the dental center legislation. Next was the medical examiner's report provided by Quinn Strobel. This is her annual report as medical examiner. Gave us kind of an overview of the statistics. We did have 603 deaths reported versus 555 as in the previous year. The next item was discussion on the WIC, or Women, Infants, and Children's Program. We had some discussion on this as the contract that we've had We've contracted this out with Wright County Community Action for many, many years. That agreement comes to an end here at the end of 2020, and the county has the first right of refusal on taking this back. So we wanted to raise this issue early in the year. So we had presentations from Public Health Director Sarah Groshas, as well as Jay Weatherford and Amy Cortisis from Wright County Community Action. A lot of statistics, both for our county, were discussed, as well as those referral rates for some of the counties similar to size as us and in similar location to us. A lot of discussion on the information that was presented. We feel we need some more discussion, so the recommendation was to schedule another meeting on this topic for a future workshop, either later in March or April. Next item for discussion was CAMA, or Computer-Aided Mass Appraisal and Tax Products. We had Tony Rasmussen, the county assessor, in to present. As you know, this has been a long-going saga of trying to identify our next solution for this software. We've been waiting for working with the Minnesota County's Computer Cooperative for years, and that has, I think, come to its resolution there. And so now we've been looking at what other counties have used for systems. Quotes were presented for the Tyler system, and that was recommended by Assessor Rasmussen. At his point, this recommendation is to proceed with Tyler CAMA and Tax, but leave the cashiering and field mobile modules to work on until after CAMA and Tax are installed. So he's at this point was directed to come back with contract and work with the attorney's office in developing that. So the recommendation was to authorize contracting with Tyler for IAS World CAMA, text billing, cashiering, and field mobile modules. The understanding that the latter three may not be installed until a later date. Next item was regarding County Ditch 20. We did have some action today regarding this in line of what was discussed. Very high-level summary as we had moved forward with some repairs on this ditch in fall of 2019, and then found out that there were additional issues that would need to be discussed. We wanted to get a better handle on what the scope and cost of doing so would be. So after some discussion on the specifics of what tile was laid out and some of the challenges that are being faced, the consensus was to get a bid from Houston Engineering regarding the cost and to identify the extent of the repairs. So the recommendation reads very similarly. Authorize Ag and Drainage Coordinator to contact Houston Engineering regarding extent, cost of a complete repair for County Ditch 20, and we will cancel the current contracts that were in place for that. Next topic was the Agricultural Drainage Coordinator position. As you know, a ditch inspector position was approved for 2020's budget, and there was discussion about location of that position and some of the logistics, where that position will be housed at and how that would relate to the Agricultural and Drainage Coordinator, Mr. Detchen's position. So there was some discussion about, again, how that would impact job descriptions, where that would impact, how it would be reflected in the county's budgets, and how it would be supervision and reporting if it were to be moved for the Parks Department. So there was consensus after some discussion of authorizing the transfer of the Agricultural and Drainage Coordinator from Auditor Treasurer's Office to Parks and Recreation to be supervised by the Parks and Recreation Director. Of course, the records are still to be in the Auditor Treasurer's Office. So we discussed a little bit of some of the logistics that will have to be worked through and getting some of these changes made with job descriptions and such. So recommendations read as authorizing the transfer of the Ag and Drainage Coordinator position from Auditor Treasurer to Parks and Recreation. Authorize Parks and Recreation Director and Auditor Treasurer to work together regarding adding a division budget for agricultural and drainage, and work on developing workspaces dedicated at the Public Works Building for these two positions, and also to find some storage area and discussions with the highway engineer. The last item we talked about was state vehicle testing and some of the challenges that we're finding residents having, finding of availability of appointments for testing, not only here locally, but also statewide. Talked about some of the challenges of the amount of tests that are only available, given that there's only a few days a week here in Buffalo to work through it, and where we could go in the future. We had some discussion on an amendment to Minnesota Statute 171.13 about creating a third-party testing program, as well as we had looked at having the counties have the ability to be able to provide these services. So there was a bill that was drafted and sent to two of our representatives that was discussed at our legislative meeting earlier in the month. So that we'll be having more discussion with that, and may have to coordinate some time down at St. Paul to work on this. So at this point, this was an informational item, and the meeting adjourned at 12:24.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Commissioner Burrell.
Before we make the recommendation, or approve the minutes and recommendations, our auditor treasurer was not here, not available. He was at a conference last week. I'm just wondering if he wanted to have any comments, because it does affect your deal. Is that be all right, Madam Chair?
Yes, I mean, we can't change the minutes, but.
No.
But the recommendations,
The recommendations, I just wanted to make sure.
All right.
We gave Bob a chance to at least give us peace.
So, Madam Chair, members of the board, I concur with this. The way we've approached ditches in the past to the way we're doing them now, it's evolving. I mean, we're more aggressive on it. So I think putting Matt closer with the ditch inspector makes sense to move him out there.
Yeah.
But it does affect workload in your office regarding, because Matt helped out with elections a little bit. Do you think you'll be able to?
Madam Chair, Commissioners, I'll have to figure that out. Matt is so good that he can help out with other technical items, so
Okay.
if he's not physically there, we're gonna have to figure out what to do there, but
Okay.
I don't wanna have a knee-jerk reaction. I'll figure out what to do with there, but I concur with moving Matt out there. He's a very talented person. Up until last week, I chaired the Drainage Committee for McCaffrey, and Matt's reputation, Wright County's reputation, is pretty good. When we go through a lot of our repairs and improvements and stuff like that, we have examples of the way Wright County was involved with it. Ray Noonan touts what Greg Kreiser has worked with them on. So I take a lot of pride in being part of that. So I'd like to say, Matt being closer to the people who do the work, we got to keep doing it the right way.
Okay. Thank you.
Appreciate your comments.
Madam Chair, before you leave,
Yes.
regarding the CAMA system, Tony had recommended that we use both the tax part and the assessing part. Do you have any comments on that at all, or?
Madam Chair, Commissioners.
It's a nightmare for
The conversation I've had with Tony was about the CAMA.
Mm-hmm.
I've had conversations with Tammy, so before I commit to, buying into the tax part of it, I really want to know from her exactly what we're getting into. I know at the conference we were just at, we did talk to Tyler convertees, and there are issues with the tax side of that equation. I don't want to simplify that CAMA as like a plug and play, but when it comes to taxation administration, it's a little bit harder. All of the tax systems are having trouble with that.
Yeah, I understand
Before I
that.
commit to saying, yes, I'm all on board for Tyler tax, I'd like to talk to Tammy.
Yeah.
Madam Chair, I'll make a
Definitely more.
motion to approve the minutes and the recommendations, and then I'd have to, just some information or discussion after there's a second.
All right.
second.
Motion made by Commissioner Betch, seconded by Commissioner Potter. Yeah, I have a couple of things too, but.
So my first one, I was trying to get some clarification on the state vehicle testing, because there is a similar bill that's proposed out there by somebody else. Then there's also our proposed bills. There's legislators that want to author it. I'm looking to get some direction from you guys, because I asked before if we can use Flaherty and Hood to help connect the dots between this other bill and its authors and our proposed bill, and basically helping us kind of get it finessed into one package. Looking to see if you guys are okay with that or not. Otherwise, I can try and do it myself, but it'll be a little bit more cumbersome and a lot more,
Right.
I guess,
Well,
streamlined if they know how to find the players, and they can work with the DMV, deputy registers, lobbyists as well to get this thing packaged
Yeah.
together.
but this isn't a Wright County issue.
No,
So then, shouldn't AMC be spearheading this and involving this? I mean,
I agree, but
I mean, that's where it belongs.
Absolutely.
Because it's not one county, it's all the counties. Well, I shouldn't say all the counties. Maybe those far out state ones where we have people from the cities driving up to Alexandria because that's the soonest they can get in somewhere. Maybe it isn't as much of an issue for them.
I'm not looking to bill a lot of money for this. I'm just looking to get it some movement on it. I'm hoping that AMC will pick up on it, but at some point, somebody has to spearhead it and really champion it, and if it's us, because this is a growing issue, that's the only reason I'm...
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Potter.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Commissioner Vetch brings up a good point. If you have two competing bills that are saying similar things and they're to parallel course there, the legislature's going to get, the leaders are going to get confused, so they're going to out. If they can be melded together into one with a good, clear focus, I think it has a chance of getting somewhere.
Yeah,
Competing bills always get tabled.
you know, I would say do what makes the most sense and has the most impact. You know, if combining them is the route to go, because you don't want competing, so, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I don't
It is
know
a
with
state
it.
issue.
All I'm just saying is that,
Yeah,
I mean, this is not Wright County issue, but
right.
I guess you're right, unfortunately, is that somebody's got to spearhead it, and
We got to get her,
the attention has to be brought to the peoples down at the legislators that make those stupid decisions.
yes, we have to get that, you know, in their minds, and, I mean, I think they're starting to recognize that there's a pretty big problem when people have to go all over the place, but.
I still,
Burrell?
I'm with Mark's first thought, though. It's just maybe, because we're going to run up quite a bill with Flaherty and Hood if we do too much. I mean, I know there's just everything that happens, the state affects us, but I'm thinking we're members of AMC. We have 5 people that go to the different meetings down there, and I think we can have an impact that way.
Unfortunately, timing is an issue.
No, that's true.
I wouldn't be able to get on their platform, so I'm going to get
Okay.
marginal support.
I'm not opposed to-
I'm looking at probably, I mean, $1,500, mostly just a couple phone calls, couple of emails to the other bill sponsor, kind of get it cohesive into one. Then at that point, we can do the legwork in getting it, in getting the information in front of the committees, but I just need somebody to legwork it to get it.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not opposed to it.
I mean, if we don't get it done now, when do things have to be at, the hearings are done, or?
First hearing's coming up in first part of March, the end of it. It has to be scheduled. But, Madam Chair,
Yeah.
with this, I mean, it didn't hit the platform. So AMC is going to say, well, it wasn't on a platform, we can't do it because all these 7 counties have spoken. Somebody has to spearhead it there, and if it's us, so be it, we just go forward, because we can't wait for them to get on board, because most people are late to the dance already anyway. We need to take charge and get some of these things going forward, because otherwise, we're going to be floundering here in a growing county, when other counties that aren't growing, no big deal to them, they don't care.
Yeah.
We have different dynamics at play here that we have to be at the table. And that's why the Flaherty and Hood, that's why we got these people to help make sure that our voice is being heard, because AMC is limited what they can do and say. If it's not on a platform, they're not going to do it.
And Madam Chair, I mean, I look at this as if we have to spend $1,500, even $2,000 to keep the chance of keeping our Buffalo DMV open.
Yeah,
That's a good point.
yes.
Oh, and regarding that, on that state vehicle testing in the minutes, there's a line, third line down, Buffalo testing site does 12 tests per day, 2 days per week, versus 20 at the Plymouth site per day, 2 days per week. I think that 2 days per week should get removed.
I think it was 5 days a week, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
down Plymouth is 5.
But it's 20, they do 20 each.
Day.
And,
Each day.
well, and maybe it needs to be clarified even more. Each tester does 20 per day.
Yep. If
So,
they're
and that's what they
Buffalo-
were doing, is trying to compare, you know, that it is more efficient down in Plymouth compared to out here.
The thing is that's not noted in there is that if you added a third person to Buffalo,
Yep.
we could do the same 20 per day here. But because we only have 2 staff, we can only do 12 because they have to break each other.
Right.
So the question is, they're trying to say without adding any more money, they can get more economy of scale in Plymouth than they can in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Yep.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
if you look at the Plymouth station there, they have an internal driving course already. They don't have to go out in the street. They don't have to do it. They stay right there so they can go around their thing, come back, go around their thing, come back. They don't have to, all the other anomalies of bringing people out on road test to make sure they get the parallel parking, the stoplight, the right turn, the left turn. Because down there, it's easy to get that test done quicker because for them to do the same requirements, they have to drive farther to get that test done if they have to hit all those points.
But Madam Chair, the other thing is we have to look at it, the Plymouth course serves well over 1 million people in its testing area. That is its primary zone. So that's one thing we have to look at. At some point, if you were going to condense us into there, even with economy of scale, I think they're maxed out in what population they can serve.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you know, the thing is, how many more could they do a day there? I mean, the line is considerably long down there. So how, if you put more people down there, how could you actually do more?
The traffic in and out of there is already
Yep.
crazy.
So,
All right.
for some common sense here that we're going to help down in St. Paul.
And Madam
That's why we have
Chair,
to
I
get
did
that
get
common sense comment.
clarification on the nuclear plant. So it is going to be March 26th at 10 a.m. I will be giving everybody an email with instructions here that's going to be coming out and all the stuff, the process that we have to go through for this visit.
10 a.m.
10 a.m., yep.
I can either put that on a next, just authorize attendance, or do you want to do it now?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be good.
You can just do that, yeah. And then I'll just kind of coordinate with you, Lee, about when all the instructions come out from Excel and kind of you want to work on just taking over from here and make sure everybody's got the right stuff that they need.
Okay.
I had one clarification, now I lost the sheet, but on the, when we took the break, it said that we took a 10-minute break from 10:22 to 10:27, so I think just take out the 10-minute break,
Why?
because it wasn't 10 minutes. 10:22 to 10:27. There it is,
Page 3 of 6.
yeah, page 3 of 6. You could just say we recessed at 10:22 and resumed at 10:27. Then I have a question. What does, under the agricultural drainage coordinator position, what is a PAQ?
That would be a position analysis questionnaire.
Okay.
It's basically
Kinda, when
what's,
I read this, like, position,
yeah, it's what's used to help in developing the job description,
Yep.
reviewing job descriptions.
I don't remember if I've ever heard that term before. Thank you.
Another book in the acronym.
Another, yes, you bet. Any more discussion? We have,
Madam Chair?
yes,
The only thing I have, the recommendations for the CAMA system was, I believe, to, where am I here? What were the recommendations? Oh, here it is. Tax billing, cashiering, with the understanding that later 3 may not be installed. Okay, so right now, all we're going to approve is the CAMA part for Tyler, just strictly for the assessor's office.
right, yeah, yeah.
I just wanted to make sure
Our
that
auditor wasn't here
that's-
to have
I think that's
any
a good
discussion
point
on
that you point that out, yeah, that we're not tying our hands to the other ones at this
No.
time, yep.
No, but, you know, I have a problem with it, though, is that if we decide that we don't want to use Tyler for the tax billing collections, will the other system work good with the CAMA part of it? And I have some major concerns with the issues with the state, at the state level, with the complexity, which is why we're having so many issues, is the complexity of the tax system
Right.
in Minnesota.
Yeah, there's no question about that.
And it's frustrating.
We have a motion.
You know, it's just absolutely frustrating.
Get a second, too.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes to approve the workshop minutes and recommendation. All right, on to, we've got a few minutes before our 10:30 meeting, so any, we have any committee advisory report updates? Commissioner Kelly, would you like to start, or?
I'd love to start.
All right.
If I go first, I can steal all your thunder.
Good.
Yeah.
Things we read at the same time.
Saves us from talking.
So as Commissioner Vetch will work on getting the logistics done of that XL tour, since that has been scheduled. We all attended the Soil and Water Annual Planning Meeting, which is, I look forward to that one every year. I think that's very interesting to connect with that group and talk about what they're doing and how we're helping them. It's always interesting. Last week, ERP started in earnest on the HR-related things. I think all that were there have provided positive comments to me that things went well, the sessions went well. We're continuing on with the benefits administration piece this week, so that's the next phase in it. Last week, we also had negotiations on Friday with our 49ers group. I think that went very well.
Yep, we do have a,
We'll have an agreement coming in front of the board here in one of the upcoming weeks, so. We'll be meeting with AFSCME again later this week, so
This week?
I believe so.
is it?
I thought it was in March.
Some a week off.
7.5 hours of your day.
Yeah.
No, I don't have, asked me until March 2nd.
What? I wonder if that date got moved on me.
March 2nd.
Apologize, I had a hold on that one, so that one did get moved. You're right.
Don't confuse me. God.
Sorry about that.
Should be.
We're very easily confused. All right.
And tomorrow we get to play with ditches.
And just a reminder, the owners' committees are this week, so there'll be one this afternoon for tactical and tomorrow for the other two facilities, so.
And the government center one is at 10:30?
That is correct.
10:30.
10:30, and Justice Center will be at 1 PM, both on site.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Commissioner
is there
Vetch.
anybody that would be interested in covering me on the GC one? I have bills that I'm testifying tomorrow at 9:45, so I can't make that government Senate meeting, so.
Tomorrow I'm on the radio, so I wouldn't be available.
I can cover you.
You're already on it, are you?
Oh, that's right.
But if not, I guess we've got.
We've got-
I just,
Yeah.
it's important that I testify on these bills tomorrow.
Yeah,
so.
absolutely.
Definitely.
No, we don't have that much going on yet, I don't think, in the
No.
government center.
Early days in that.
Yep.
Yes.
All right.
That's all I had, thank you.
Commissioner Delyden.
In the interest of moving along in a weak bladder, I'll pass.
That's right, we do have another meeting in 15, don't we?
Commissioner Potter.
Nothing this week, next week you're gonna get your earful.
Oh, okay. You guys want to, I can finish off, so Commissioner Vetch, anything?
Mine's real short here. Brought up the concern that we've had kind of discussion about the letters that the school sends out about kids missing schools for being sick and whatnot, just uniformly. I had discussion at the Monticello Safe School at their administration and trying to get their methodology as to why. They felt that they've weighed it back and forth as an administrative team, but they feel that they're better to just uniformly send it out to everybody instead of doing the hand picking and only sending those letters to those that they feel warrant those letters. They do understand that it does give a certain level of bad flavor to those good students that get those letters. But they did appreciate that, they're hearing that there is discussion on it because it's something that they weigh heavily back and forth on what is the best methodology to go forward with, so.
Yeah.
And we had on Thursday, we were all there for the planning session for the soil and water, and kind of a recap of things that we did last year too. And I think one of the big things that I got out of that is the excellent cooperation that we're getting with the ag community in Wright County, the buy-in for these projects. Because I said I go and I meet with other counties all around, and they're like, they have these projects, they want to get them done, but they can't get farmers to let them do it.
Right.
And we are getting that buy-in, so I just want to say thanks to our ag community in Wright County, because we are shining in that way.
It was amazing when you look at the map, all the projects in the ag community that they're doing, and it's, yeah. Yeah, I
Anyway,
agree.
that's,
Yeah, there was none in my district, which I'm gonna have to complain.
I know.
there was one, right?
And Madam Chair.
What?
There was one in your area.
Point of clarity, did Commissioner Burrell leave Mr. Kreiser a tip for bringing you a caramel roll and orange juice? No. Okay.
All right, I'll be as brief as I can. So I was at the Buffalo Safe Schools meeting, and a reminder that February is I Love to Read month, so if you can get out to your schools and do some reading with the kids, they appreciate that. You can do it anytime, but, and then there's some discussion about the inequity in the funding for different schools, so we had quite a bit of a discussion about that and how, you know, corporations, school districts and corporations have, you know, a much different funding money that they get from the state or that they're able to work with
Did you
than
say corporations?
that have, yep, school districts with corporations. So, yep, school districts pay 2 to 3 times more than school districts with, like, corporations in them, with the taxes, so, according to what they said, so I can look into that more, but,
I mean, corporations pay more.
right, they're,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Us businesses pay more.
right,
in property
exactly,
taxes.
right, so if you get larger corporations, then you, yeah, get more,
Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
then,
I misunderstood
Yeah.
what you were referring to.
sorry,
but Yeah,
sorry, yeah.
yeah, no, it was a business.
I shouldn't try to be brief
Business
because.
owners, no, I understand.
You understand that business
Yeah.
owners, yep,
And Madam Chair, with the safe schools and the funding inequity,
yep.
its baseline formula is antiquated and nobody's going to touch it. They talk about it, but there's nobody down at that Capitol that's going to touch that, because if they're like in Senator Osmond's district, they might see a cut and they're not going to touch it. They'll block it every which way to keep it from happening. It's just like LGA for cities, that is same mechanism. It's an antiquated baseline system.
And it works for the big company, or big counties, or cities, or school
It's just not,
districts.
yeah, it's just not working. They're not going to touch it.
And we had our mentorship, education, and drug awareness meeting also, and we're looking at the Drug-Free Communities Grant. It's now being funded by the Center for Disease Control for substance abuse, and it's a $125,000 a year for 5 years. So that could go a long way to drug education for sure. We also saw the overdose map. So they're starting to map where overdoses are occurring and to get a real handle on that and what the overdoses were. There
That was for the county.
for the county. Yep, they're doing, yep. And there was actually 57 overdoses in 2019. Not all were opioids. There's prescriptions and that kind of thing. And as we heard from our medical examiner, so sometimes you might have multiple substances and an overdose.
See, the
Not-
numbers
not-
that she gave us is
Not
different.
deaths, not
Those are deaths. Those are just overdoses.
Overdoses,
Okay,
not deaths.
I got you.
Yep.
That's right. Yep.
And 16 received Narcan, naloxone, and 14 of those 16 were saved from that. And there's also a presentation from Know the Truth, and it's part of Teen Challenge, Adult and Teen Challenge, but it's a separate branch. It's the, you could call it the secular side of the Adult and Teen Challenge, and we had a presenter that they go into doing these presentations at schools, and they conduct anonymous surveys, and they find out, you know, what kids are using or what percentage. And the surveys in Wright County community reflect that 24% of high school students are using drugs, which is really scary. So they have used some, you know, marijuana, prescriptions, hallucinogens. 41% admitted to nicotine use, and 75 using e-cigarettes. So that's, you know, very startling statistics. So they're in different schools in our county and continue to do work, and we give grants to the you know, schools that want to have different programs for making good choices and to not to use substances. So our top three in 2019 were the Howard Lake Waverly Winstead Schools, the Laker Proud Mentor Group. They had 550 students at their mentorship program. And the parent-teen handbook outreach. So we've got 90-minute parent-teen presentations for the driver's ed programs, and they had served over 1,000 kids for that. So there's a lot of good things going on, and public health getting involved with our program has really, as our county attorney Kelly says, has taken us off life support, and we're doing a lot. Just a couple of things. If you're looking to be a volunteer, the Wright County has a urgent need for drivers for the Volunteer Transportation program. And they provide transportation of clients to school, medical appointments, visitations, etc. So that's through Health and Human Services. And also, they are looking to have foster care for teens. So for more information, contact our Health and Human Services. But try to be brief. Anything else?
No.
All right. Well, we have a 10:30 Committee of the Whole. And if there is no other business, we're adjourned at 10:25. Thank you.